بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الناصح الأمين. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد، يا عباد الله, from the ways in which an individual can spend their time in a beneficial manner is to reflect and to read and to study the statements of the A'immah and the statements of the Salaf. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, we would like to look at a portion of these statements, insha'Allah. قال شيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية رحمه الله تعالى: لا عيب على من أظهر مذهب السلف وانتسب إليه واعتز إليه، بل يجب قبول ذلك منه باتفاق، فإن مذهب السلف لا يكون إلا حقا. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, there is no blame upon the one who makes it clear the madhab of the Salaf. There is no blame upon the one who shows, he lets it be known that he is upon the madhab of the Salaf, nor for the one who connects himself to it. He connects himself to it by saying that he is Salafi, nor for the one who refers to it, but rather it is wajib, it is obligatory to accept that from him by consensus of the ulama. Because verily the way of the Salaf, it is nothing except the truth. The way of the Salaf, it is the truth. So we have to accept that. When one reflects upon the A'immah, they will know with a clear knowing that the Imaams of this Deen, they were upon the Kitab, they were upon the Sunnah as understood by the Salaf of this Ummah. So you have the great Imam Awza'i rahmatullah alayhi, who said, عليك بآثار من سلف وإن رفضك الناس وإياك وآراء الرجال وإن زخرفوا لك بالقول. He said that it is wajib, it is binding upon you to stick to the narrations of the Salaf, even if the people reject you. And this is the reality, is that the one who was upon the way of the Salaf, you will find that the people, they will reject him. So don't fall victim to the pressures from the evil ones who want to sway you away from the way of the Salaf. Don't fall pressure to the ones who want to sway you away from the way of Abu Bakr, away from the way of Umar, away from the way of Uthman, away from the way of Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Don't fall victim to those who will want to bring you something different. Imam Awza'i, he mentioned that the people, they might reject you. Even if they reject you, hold on to it. Hold on to the athar of man salaf, of those who have come before. And beware of the opinions of men, even if they beautify them for you with speech. Beware. Beware of the opinions of men, even if they beautify those opinions by way of their speech. Stick to that which coincides with the book. Stick to that which coincides with the Sunnah. Stick to that which coincides to the way of the Sahaba and those who follow them in good. وقال سهل بن عبد الله رحمه الله تعالى: عليكم بالأثر والسنة. He said it is binding upon you to stick to the athar, to stick to the narrations, and to stick to the Sunnah. And I want you to pay close attention to what he is saying because we have lived to a time where we are witnessing it. He says, فَإِنِّي أَخَافُ أَنَّهُ سَيَأْتِي عَنْ قَلِيلِ زَمَانٍ إِذَا ذَكَرَ الْإِنسَانُ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم واقتداء به في جميع الأحوال ذموه والنفر عنه وتبرأوا منه وأذلوا وأهانوا. He said, it is binding upon you to stick to the narrations and to stick to the sunnah. He said, because verily I fear that there will come shortly. Verily I fear that after a little bit of time, there shall come a time that if a man were to mention the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and imitating him in all of his affairs, to imitate the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam throughout the whole of his life, in every aspect of his life, that I fear that a time will come that if a man will mention the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the imitating and following of the Prophet ﷺ in all aspects of one's life, that the people, they will begin to blame him, and they will run away from him, and they will free themselves from him, and they will debase him and humiliate him. Wallah, we have lived to such a time when if a man mentions following the Prophet ﷺ in all of the affairs, then the people look at him as if he's backwards. They look at him as if he has gone too far. They look at him as if he is not moderate, forgetting that the Deen of Islam is a Deen of moderation, forgetting that the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that is moderation, forgetting that imitating the Prophet ﷺ, that's moderation. Not taking some and leaving others, but following the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in totality, that's moderation. People forget that. So you find that we see the reality of what the Imam he was speaking about as we have lived to this time, where the people want to free themselves from you because you may be dressed in a manner similar to the way that the Prophet ﷺ was dressed. So you may run into them in the streets and they are almost ashamed to be seen with you. They are almost ashamed to give salams to you and to make it be known that they know you and the like. Why? Because you are dressed in a manner in which the Prophet ﷺ was dressed in. And then they will have the audacity to tell you, brother, you know you don't have to dress like that, right? Ya subhanallah. We have to beware of following the desires, because there is no good outcome when following one's desires. There is no good repercussion from the following of desires. وقال إمام ابن القيم رحمه الله تعالى فإن اتباع الهوى يعمل عين القلب فلا يميز بين السنة والبدعة. He said that verily the following of the desires, they will blind the eye of the heart. They will blind the eye of the heart to the point where individual who will not be able to distinguish between the sunnah and between bid'ah. We have to be warned, ya ibad. Don't follow desires. Beware of those who follow their desires, because when one follows desires, it will dullin your intellect. It will make you stupid. It will make you dumb. It will make the eye of your heart blind. So be warned. And you will see as an effect of those who follow their desires that the adillah does not suffice them. The adillah is not enough for them. For this fact, قال Imam al-Albani رحمه الله تعالى طالب الحق يكفيه دليل وصاحب الهوى لا يكفيه 1000 دليل. الجاهل يعلمه وصاحب الهوى ليس لنا عليه سبيل. He said that the person who is looking for the truth, it suffices him one proof. The person who is looking for the truth, he sufficed by one proof. Whereas the one who is a companion of his desires, he is not satisfied even with 1,000 proofs. He's not satisfied. There's always but what if, or but what about, and so on and so forth. They're not satisfied by the adillah. The Shaykh, he mentioned, he said that the one who is ignorant, that he can be taught. The one who's ignorant, yu'allam, he can be taught. But the one who was a companion of his desires, the Shaykh, he says, there's nothing we can do with this one. There's no sabil for us upon this one. There's no help for this one. We can't help that one. So we have to be warned, ya ibad, from the evils of bid'ah and from the evils of the carrier of bid'ah. And we have to be able to understand the reality and the repugnant nature of bid'ah. وقال Imam Abu Idris al-Khawlani رحمه الله تعالى, he said, لأن أرى في المسجد نارا لا أستطيع إطفاؤها أحب إلي من أن أرى فيه بدعة لا أستطيع تغييرها أو تغييرها. He said, were I to see a fire inside of the masjid of which I did not have the ability to put out, that's more beloved to me than I should see a bid'ah in the masjid that I did not have the ability to change. And this is because of the repugnant nature of the bid'ah. It's more destructive than the flames of a fire. Because if the masjid, it burns down, but there's no bid'ah contained therein, then we can always build another masjid. But if the bid'ah takes hold inside of a masjid which cannot be changed, then the people of there are threatened with the fire of hell. And there's nothing we can do to help that. There's nothing we can do to repair that. And this is why the Imam, he said, to see the masjid on fire with a fire that I can't put out is more beloved to me than to see the masjid, than to see inside of the masjid a bid'ah in which I do not have the ability to change. Let us reflect, ya ibad, because how often is it the case that people will speak about seerah, they will speak about the Imams of the religion and studying their biographies and so on and so forth. Let us reflect over these statements from these great Imams. Let us reflect and take example from their lives. Let us reflect and take example so that we are upon that which they were upon, so that our methodology, our aqidah is the same as their methodology and the same as their aqidah, because that is what benefits us when we look back to their biographies and the like. Is seeing the aqidah that they were upon, that minhaj that they were upon, the ilm that they left, and then following that and implementing that. We ask Allah Ta'ala to make us of those who are upon the kitab, those who are upon the sunnah, as the Salaf of this ummah, they understood it. هذا يا عباد أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. يا عباد الله، قال العلماء المناهج ثلاثة أنواع. It said the methodologies are three types. The methodologies are three types. I want you to pay close attention. منهج الثورة, you have the methodology of revolutions, and we see this going on with the Arab Spring and so on and so forth. The ulama, they say وَهُمُ الْخَوَارِجِ. Those who have this methodology of revolution, they are the Khawarij. They are the Khawarij, those whom the Prophet ﷺ, he called Kilabun Nar, the dogs of the fire. So this is not a minhaj that's worthy of adorning oneself with. Second, they said منهج التمييع وهم الذين ضيعوا دين الله في الأرض. Then you have the minhaj of watering down, the minhaj of appeasing, watering down, and the like. And the ulama, they say, and those are the ones who have lost the deen of Allah inside of the earth. They are the ones who lost the deen of Allah inside of the earth. Those who water the things down, those who compromise beyond that which Islam allows us to compromise, they are the ones who water down the deen. They are the ones who lose the deen. So when we look at that, we realize this is not a methodology in which we want to adorn ourselves with. And then thirdly, minhaj al-islah wa hum al-salafiyun. and you have the methodology of rectification, and those are the ones who are upon the way of the Salaf. Those are the ones who are upon the way of the Salaf. That's the only rectification. There's no rectification in following behind politics and that, because you will find these ones, these political ones, they are the most watered down from those who watered down. So they lose the Deen of Allah on the side of the earth. So this is not sufficient for us. So again, we have to be warned from the innovation and the people of innovation. وقال إمام الوادعي إمام مقبل رحمه الله تعالى, he said أركان الحزبية ثلاث. He said the pillars of Hizbiyya are three. Now I want you to pay attention, because accompanying and being friends with and companions with the people of Hizbiyya and the people of Bid'ah, this is not an option. And if you think it's an option, listen to their pillars. Listen to their pillars. Listen to their pillars. He says, التلبيس والخداع والكذب. Those are their three pillars. Deception, betrayal and trickery, and lying. Those are their three pillars. If there was a person who brought to you an individual and say, this is so and so, he's a deceiver, he's a trickster, and he's a liar, hang out with him. What would you say? You will refuse. No way. Who would want to be friends with a person who's upon such evil characteristics? But these are the characteristics of the Hizbi. Just reflect on the deviant groups, and you will find all of these traits present therein. You will just reflect on the partisan groups, you will find these traits present therein. So much so that Imam al-Wadi'i, he said, every Hizbi is a liar, but not every liar is a Hizbi. This is the fact. Every person given to partisanship, you will find they are liars. Wa'iyadu billah. So accompany them is not an option. It's not an option. Imam al-Shafi'i, the great Imam, Sahib al-Madhab, listen close to what he said now about the people of innovation and a particular type of them in particular. He said, لو أن الرجل صاحب الصوفية من الصبح إلى الظهر لذهب عقله. He said, if a person were to accompany the Sufiya, if a person were to accompany the Sufis from subh, from the morning time to dhuhr, to the afternoon time, from fajr to dhuhr, just those hours, if you were to accompany a Sufi from those times, Imam al-Shafi'i, he said what? He said then that man's mind would have gone away. He would have gone crazy. His mind would be gone if he were to accompany a Sufi just for those hours. So we understand the importance of being around good people, being around those who are upon the Sunnah, being around those who are upon the way of the Salaf. This is more important, ya ibad. It's better for you to hang out with a person who's good than it is for you to hang out with yourself. And for this reason, قال بعض السلف, some of the Salaf, they used to say, الأخ الصالح خير لك من نفسك فإن النفس أمارة بالسوء والأخ الصالح لا يأمر إلا بخير. He said that a righteous brother, and for sisters you can insert into that sister, a righteous brother / sister is better for you than yourself, is better to you than yourself. They said because verily a person's own soul will command him to do evil, whereas a righteous brother and insert sister will only encourage you to do that which is good, will only encourage you to do that which is good. So we see the importance of brotherhood, we see the importance of having good companions, having good friends, and so on and so forth. When one understands the importance and how valuable that is, then they understand and they see the danger in anything that will come in to erode that, anything that will come in and be a detriment to that. They will see the danger of anybody who comes in and who tries to break up the unity. So for the troublemakers, let it be known, we're going to put the screws to you. Those who are trying to cause fitna, those who are trying to make enmity amongst the people of the Sunnah, those who are trying to break up the ranks of the Muslims, we're going to put the screws to you. If you're found out and identified, وقال Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, and I want you to contemplate on this, ya ibad. He said, ليس الاعتقاد لي ولا لمن هو أكبر مني بالاعتقاد يؤخذ عن الله سبحانه وتعالى ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وما أجمع عليه السلف الأمة يؤخذ من كتاب الله ومن أحاديث البخاري ومسلم وغيرهما من أحاديث المعروف وما ثبت عن سلف الأمة. He said that the belief is not for me. The i'tiqad, the aqidah, the minhaj, it don't belong to me. Nor does it belong to those who are greater than me. And I want you to pay close attention to this, because we have individuals who are obsessed with edutainment. We have individuals who are obsessed with calling to themselves. The people who are upon the haqq, they don't call to themselves. The imma, they don't call to themselves. The ulama, they don't call to themselves, but rather they call the people to the haqq. The haqq has more right. Be warned from those people who want to attach you to them and their personalities. I don't care who the name is. Ibn Fulan, Abu Allan, Al-Allan, wa Fulan, I don't care who the name is. Be warned of those individuals who would like to attach you to themselves. Be warned from these narcissistic, evil, deluded individuals. When we have the likes of Imam Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah saying that the aqidah, the minhaj, it don't belong to me, nor does it belong to those who are greater than me, but rather it is taken from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and from His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and that which the Imma, that which the Salaf of this Ummah agreed upon. It is taken from the book, it is taken from the ahadith, from Al-Bukhaari and Muslim, and other than that, from those ahadith that are well known, and that which is confirmed upon the Imaams of this Ummah. Connect yourselves to the ulama. Don't connect yourself to these lowly ones. Don't connect yourself to these small guys. Connect yourself to the ulama. Don't connect yourself to personality. Connect yourself to the ulama. Anybody who has a connection to me because of a personality, cut it right now. Let it get scissored right now. You are a fool if you connect yourself to me. Connect yourself to the way of the Salaf. Connect yourself to the ulama. Because the haqq has more right to be followed. The haqq has more right to be adhered to. The haqq has more right to be held on to. The haqq is what you need to connect yourself to. Connect yourself to the ulama. Connect yourself to the ulama. The likes of Shaykh Fawzan, or Shaykh Ubayd, or Shaykh Rabi', or Shaykh Muhammad bin Hadi, and other than him from the ulama. Connect yourself to the ulama. وقال العلماء. So we have some understanding, ya ibad. So we're able to put people in their right place. And as an encouragement for you to make moves. قال العلماء من يأخذ العلم عن شيخ من يأخذ العلم عن شيخ يكن من الزيغ والتحريف في حرم ومن يكن آخذا للعلم عن صحف فعلمه عند أهل العلم كالعدم ومن لم تصح مبادئ إرادته لا يسلم في منتهى عواقبه. The ulama, they say that the one who takes his knowledge from a shaykh, the one who takes his knowledge from the ulama, then he will be safe. He will be in a sanctuary and safe from going astray and safe from misguidance. But the one who takes his ilm from books, the one who takes his ilm from pages, meaning books, then his knowledge with the scholars is equal to that which does not exist. فَعِلْمُهُ إِنْدَ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ كَالْعَدَمِ. then his knowledge with the people of ilm is like it don't exist. Don't exist. We have to connect ourselves to the ulama, learn from the ulama. Those of you who are young, go seek ilm with the ulama. Go study. Go seek ilm with the ulama. And understand that when we do such, it's for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not so that eyes will be looking at you, not so that you will be the main one in the gathering, and so on and so forth. No. And this is why the ulama, they say, وَمَنْ لَمْ تَصِحْ مَبَادِيَ إِرَادَتِهِ لَا يُسْلَمْ فِي مُنْتَهَا أَوَاقِبِهِ. And whoever he does not rectify the beginning of his intentions, or his intention from the beginning, then he will not be safe as to the end result of his affair. He will not be safe as relates to the end result of his affair. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. Verily actions are but by their intentions, and everyone shall have the reward for that which they have intended. So let us benefit, ya ibad, from these few statements that we have looked at from the fountain of the statements of the Salaf and the Imaams. Let us benefit and reflect, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Let us start to do better as we know better. Let us start to do better as we know better, ya ibad. Let us not be of those who do that, or who say that which they don't do, because most hateful to Allah is that we say that which we do not do. So let us know better and do better, ya ibad. هذا أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم وأقيموا الصلاة وإن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر.